Here's something I didn't know existed until I found it on eBay for a somewhat reasonable price. This is a 1965 Zenith all transistor AM radio, AC operated. This set uses a 4 transistor chassis, and the model number is M860W, which indicates this is a 1965 model, and I've already peeked on the inside, and all of the components are dated mid-1964, so this set was likely made in mid-64 for the 65 model year. Alright, let's turn it on and give it a test. Sounds like we have a bad filter capacitor, but we are passing a signal, so that's a good sign.
On a vehicle from Masses, you'll find 2014.
Okay, let's open it up and fix this little problem. Here's the chassis, and that orange thing here is our filter capacitor that's fixing to be replaced. I have a nice ferrite bar antenna, and we have a printed circuit board that contains the bulk of the components, but there are some components mounted on the metal portion of the chassis. Okay, our filter capacitor values are 100 microfarad and 150 volts, 80 microfarad and 20 microfarad, both at 50 volts. We should be able to come up with those in our parts inventory. And here are our replacement capacitors, a 100 microfarad, 200 volt, 82 microfarad, 50 volt, or excuse me, 63 volt to replace the 50 volt capacitor, and a 22 microfarad at 50 volt to replace the original 20 microfarad. And since these newer capacitors are so much smaller than the original, I think I'll just solder them directly to the terminal strip here. That should work okay. Okay, here's our new capacitor soldered in place. I'm going to leave this old one in here just for authenticity's sake. Of course, I will move these wires and attach them somewhere out of the way, but who knows, somewhere down the road I might decide to restuff this old capacitor, or somebody else might decide to restuff it, so I'll just leave it there for future use, so to speak. And I've already cleaned the volume control, so let's fire it up and see what happens.
Guessing that you deal with people with PTSD. Talk to me.
I sure do.
There might be too strong a word. More like she's
Alright, that's about it. There's an out-of-town station here at about 10 minutes to 6 in the afternoon. So that's not bad for a little 4 transistor setup. Turn the volume up and see what we can pick up here. I think that may be our weak 670 station from about 30 or 40 miles away. So yeah, I think we got it. I'm not going to replace these other capacitors since the radio is working normally. And this is a solid state unit with low voltages except for in the main power supply and on the audio output stage. So, you know, I'm going to just leave it alone. Just one of those situations, like they say, it's only original once. So, I'm going to put this thing back together, and that will be it. Okay, there are the wires tied out of the way. And if nothing else, somebody might open this radio up in 50 years and they can look at this old filter capacitor and it'll give them an idea of what 1960s parts looked like.
Press Secretary Josh
Hey, here we are back together.
Is confident in the Secret Service. The president and his family were not
See
at
the
home
back
at
of the
time.
radio.
Radio's Jared Halpern, 3 Afghan Army officers in this country for training on Cape Cod went AWOL this.
Has debit or credit card from Trustmark Bank in just a few.
Okay, there you go, the 1964, made for the 1965 model year Zenith all transistor radio, ready to go. Thanks for watching and more to come later.